What if you could build a brand new home that was both beautiful and energy efficient with heating and cooling costs under $70 a month? Well, we're about to show you how this can be done. So we're gonna take you guys on a quick tour. We are on location here at one of their condos that they've built. Hey everyone, it's LisaB, and I am sitting down here with Ryan McCune from Endura Performance Homes. And we're here to talk about how you can build a new home, but have it more comfortable and more energy efficient. All right, you guys, so we are downstairs and we're gonna actually check out the inside of the home. This is the part that most buyers are not really caring about, but they should. So Ryan, will you give us a tour?
Absolutely. Obviously, you're here in the mechanical room, which from a builder's perspective is the most important part of the house. And like you mentioned earlier, most buyers are more concerned about cabinetry and countertops and flooring. But you really should understand how your house is put together. And some of the key features in homes that we build, again, we're looking at what we call the thermal envelope. We're trying to reduce energy loss and make for a healthier indoor air quality environment. Comfort's another one. So we're in a basement, a lower level of a house. As you can see, we're using a product I've been using for about 15 years. This is a precast foundation system that's insulated. It's pre-insulated. These are panels that are delivered to the site and assembled, put down in the ground as a basement. There's dirt up against this on the other side. This is polyisocyanurate. It's 2.5 inches of it. It has an R value of about 16.
Nice.
And then these are steel and concrete studs that are wrapped in EPS foam. And that helps, again, create a thermal break between the cold outside ground and the warmer condition inside basement space. The analogy I use quite often, which is interesting, is when we get that first snow in the fall and you look around the perimeter of your house and the snow just doesn't seem to stick to the ground, like it's melted about 4 feet away. That's because the basement is heating the ground outside. Hot moves to cold, so as you're trying to warm your house up, that is being lost through your traditional poured wall concrete foundation system. This helps reduce or really slow down that heat loss process by having this foam in there. That's one thing that we use that kind of really, again, makes a major difference in improving the energy efficiency of home. Below us, which you can't see, there's foam underneath this concrete slab. That also, again, I use the analogy, it's like having a refrigerator without a door on it. Homes were built for years with no insulation underneath that concrete slab. Ground temperature is 55 degrees. Comfortable home is usually around 70 degrees. So that heat is constantly moving into the ground, and we want to slow that process down by adding rigid foam insulation underneath the slab. Again, it's not something required by code, but something that we do to help you, reduce your energy costs.
And I know you guys can't feel it because you're watching this, but I am down here and it is very comfortable temperature-wise.
Yeah,
and I have to say, this is the most beautiful foundation I've ever seen.
Downstate, I grew up in a basement that was always cold and damp and musty. It smelled funny. It was always just, and that's because of the technique of the materials we use to build that basement. We've improved considerably with better systems and better foundations and the use of more insulation. So you probably just heard the ERV kick on, which was great timing, good segue. This is kind of the lungs of the house. Again, this is not a requirement by code. This is something we install because we want fresh air from outside. We build a really tight home and we need to exchange that indoor air with the outside air. And this is the equipment that does that. This is pulling in that nice fresh air from outside and then exhausting stale air from inside the house. But as it's doing that, it's recovering either the heat or cooling of the indoor temperature. So a good example would be if this was January and it was 5 degrees outside right now, which we're all dreading that coming, and it's 70 degrees inside the home, we don't want to bring in 5-degree air from outside because then we're trying to heat up that 5-degree air. So what this equipment does is it actually will pull the heat out of that outgoing air as it's being exhausted outside. About 80% of it is being kept here in the house, and you're still getting the fresh air and keeping the heated air that's inside the home without drastically reducing the temperature inside the home. So this is very important. We do this in every home. It's called a balanced ventilation system. Some builders, especially with condos, they use just a bath fan, a constant running bath fan to ventilate the house. And you walk in the bathroom, you can hear it running, and that's running because it's trying to ventilate the house, but it's pulling air in through gaps and cracks and not controlled like this does. So yeah, and then we've got a really high efficiency furnace. It's almost 97% efficient, 2-stage furnace, but this is modeled for energy cost. Electric, heating and cooling at $68 a month all year round. And this is a 2,400 square foot house. So
wow.
it's pretty impressive. It's, you know, in the heating side of that, it's only about $30, $35 a month.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
We have a earth shelter home, basically precursor to what you guys are doing. You took it to another level, but basically the house is built into the ground, so it has self-insulating qualities to it. Our electric bills aren't quite as low as these, but yeah, this is pretty fascinating to see.
Yeah. So there's different ways of, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, that was a really popular technique, and that was using ground constant temperature to cool and heat the house too. But there's just so many really smart people out there that come up with really cool ideas, again, to reduce energy costs. Because ultimately, I mean, why would I want to, no offense to Consumers Energy or DTE, but why would I want to write them a $250 check a month when I can write them a $50 check and save that $2,500, $3,000 a year in heating costs and take my family on a vacation, or apply it towards kids, you know, education or something.
Yeah,
so,
pay your house off. I mean, there's a million things you can do with that extra
money. With the extra money. One other quick feature I'll show you before we wrap up is you can see there's what we call closed cell foam. And what that is, that's a spray-in foam. It has a really, really high R value. And this is one of the weakest spots of a wall of the thermal envelope of a house, is that rim joist where it meets the top of the foundation and your floor system where your walls are built. There's lots of seams right there to the outside. That closed cell foam kind of encapsulates all that. It's air sealing it, and it's providing a much higher R value for that section of the house that typically is not insulated very well.
Yeah.
I mean, you could walk down in your basement now, and if you look at that rim joist, a lot of times they just have a little piece of bad insulation stuffed in there.
Yeah.
It's not air sealed. That insulation is not working well if it's not encapsulated on all 6 sides. So you really have a poor insulation value in that rim joist. We look at that as being a very weak spot in the thermal envelope, and we spend extra money to make sure that that is sealed and insulated exceptionally well.
Yeah, and I've seen homes where the rim joist has started to rot out because the moisture is getting in as well.
Great point.
And I mean, the cost of jacking up a home, pulling that out, redoing that rim joist is very costly. So you might as well do it right the first time.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, I agree.
So Ryan, do you want to talk to us a little bit more about your company?
So Lisa, we've been in business since 2010, so about almost 15 years now, and our focus is on building homes. We look at the performance of a home, how a house functions. Obviously, energy costs are getting more expensive. There's different products that, you know, off gas and can be harmful for occupants. It's not just about granite countertops and hardwood floors and pretty cabinets. It's about the insulations we use, the air sealing techniques, the ventilation systems, the heating and cooling. You know, all these things go into how a house functions. We spend about 90% of our lives indoors.
Yeah.
So the quality of air that we breathe and how a house you know, fits us is really important to me and to my clients. So
there's really 6 key areas that you guys focus on, and one of them is even the location of the home on the property, whether it's southern facing, or how do you guys really work around the design concept? Yeah,
when you look at energy performance, we're trying to reduce heat load, right? So in northern Michigan, we spend a lot of our time heating a house, unfortunately. Our summers are very short.
Right.
So when you think about that, there's the sun itself can be what we call passive solar gain. Yeah. So if we orient a house so that it's facing more south and we have more glazed wall or windows on that wall, we can actually gain free heat from the sun. So that's one component. You know, we can tune the windows, which basically means we can set up the windows and the glass to perform better on different sides of the house. We look at insulations differently. So the thermal envelope is another characteristic of performance home building, which is the insulations, whether it's like closed cell foam or NOF Eco Seal, which fills penetrations and gaps. There's all these different stages or techniques in home building to help reduce energy costs.
It's fascinating. And so basically, when somebody comes to you and they want to build a home, you have an entire team of experts and consultants that can walk them through and guide them through this process, correct?
Yeah. I own the company and I kind of head that process. And then internally we have a couple project managers. We have a energy auditor. His name is Mackenzie Tompkins, and he helps us with modeling the house. We HERS rate every home that we build. And then we have interior selection coordinators. There's different people that all make the team. Most of it's to make the home building process much simpler. We want to make it enjoyable for the clients. And then along the way, all these other things that they can learn about their home as we're building it and leading up to the construction of it. So yeah, it's a team that I've spent 15 years kind of pulling together. We have a great crew of subcontractors, some great employees, and really a good team of people.
So is there a size minimum or maximum that you look for when you're building homes?
Not at all. We've built houses as small as 1,000 square feet, and we've built homes as big as 6,000, 7,000 square feet. It's not about the size of the house, it's about how the house is built. Ultimately, we want to make every home energy efficient, regardless of the size of the house.
And there's one key factor when you are looking to design and build a home. If you have it green certified or LEED, if you have that certification, the resale value can actually be upwards of 8% higher than other homes that are selling.
It actually can help improve the property value. You can increase up to 8% of the value of the home. So you're investing a little bit more into those features, but you're also going to get those in return when you go to sell the house, because people see that as value, that they're getting a better quality home. And what we're comparing that to is a code-built home. As a builder in the state of Michigan, we have to build a minimum. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to build better than that minimum. So that's the basis of what we're trying to do is, MLS will allow you to list things that are making the house better than what code requires.
Now, have you guys done cost analysis in comparison to how much more it might cost the consumer to purchase a home that's more eco-friendly and environmentally friendly and more comfortable versus what the cost savings are over the life of the home?
Yeah, I do. I actually have a sheet or formula that kind of shows if you invest this is what the return would be and when that return would pay back. Yeah, there's formulas that we do that kind of help lay that out for people. Some of the things that always make sense on every house that gets built, whether you're remodeling or building new or just updating your current home, is air sealing is one of the most important things. And that's sealing gaps and cracks. That's one of your worst enemies against heat losses, leaky windows or leaky outlets and that kind of thing.
People don't realize how much money they're literally throwing out the window.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
It's not sealed correctly.
Yeah, and making sure that there's detail put into all those, that air sealing. And again, you can do that with your existing home. It doesn't have to be a new home.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the tour. We're standing here in this beautiful kitchen. If you guys would like to reach out to Ryan McCune, give him a call. 231-218-5810, or my email is ryan@endurahomes.com. And what's your website?
www.endurahomes.com.
So if you guys are looking for an architecturally stunning home, but it's also very comfortable and energy efficient, feel free to reach out and give them a call.